Air raid sirens sounded across Ukraine, including the capital Kiev, as it came under Russian attack. Russia launched a barrage of missiles and drone strikes on Ukraine, targeting its drone facilities. The Russian Defense Ministry said in its daily report on Saturday that Moscow launched assaults in the direction of Sumy, Kharkiv and Donetsk over the past 24 hours, capturing another settlement in Donetsk region. It also claimed that Russia attacked Ukrainian drone production workshops and long-range drone control points. In addition, Russia's air defense system shot down one guided aerial bomb and 338 fixed-wing Ukrainian drones. Russian strike in the city of Kherson damaged a bridge that connects the city center to the nearby Korabel district. The local administration has called on all the residents to evacuate. Now, according to a report, Russian forces launched an unprecedented number of drones, 6,443 of them in July alone. The figure included decoy drones sent into Ukraine's skies in efforts to saturate the country's air defense systems. Now, on the other hand, the Security Service of Ukraine said its drones hit a drone storage facility and launch base in southwestern Russian Krasnodar Krai and an electronics plant in the western city of Penza. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that its forces struck multiple targets inside Russia, including an oil refinery and oil storage unit. Eyewitness video showed an explosion near a Russian oil facility in Russia's Samara region. Samara's governor said that an enemy drone struck an industrial enterprise in the area. In another incident, Ukrainian drone attacks hit oil depot in Sochi city. This as Kiev claims it targeted key sites in Russia's energy and defense sector in retaliation for Russian strikes on Ukrainian cities. Ukraine also said it hit military targets and a gas pipeline in Russia, where local authorities said that 3 people were killed and 2 others were wounded. Russia said its air defenses intercepted over 300 Ukrainian drones in a single 24-hour period. Russian President Vladimir Putin reiterated on Friday that Russia still demands Ukraine to abandon the territory and give up its NATO ambitions, conditions which Ukraine obviously continues to reject. Now, US President Donald Trump has condemned Russian strikes on Kiev, calling them disgusting. He also said that plans to impose new sanctions on Moscow to pressure Putin to agree to a ceasefire might also come into effect soon. US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who is currently on a West Asia tour, is expected to visit Moscow today. Now, Witkoff's latest meeting with the Russian leader in April yielded no breakthrough, but the White House insists that diplomacy is still on the table. Now, joining me live on the broadcast from Normandy, France, is Joachim Bitterlich, former German ambassador to NATO and former European diplomatic and security advisor to German Chancellor Helmut Kohl. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the broadcast.
A pleasure as always. Hello.
Let's start with your assessment of the situation that's developing before us in Russia and Ukraine conflict that's been ongoing for quite a long period now.
Yes, but it's really, if you look at the situation, if you look at, I think it's the 5th visit of Witkoff to Moscow since the beginning of this year. What are our expectations? We have different ones, I think. And when you look back, it's a multiplication of errors on both sides, on the Russian side as on the Western side. But how to get out of this, let's call it mess, out of his doldrums. The Russians have time, and I think we in the Western world and the Ukrainians have less time. What to get under these conditions? With regard to the Russians, you need a mixture, between real sanctions, because up till now, all these sanctions of the Western world have not really worked, and a mixture with what I call a positive offer, an integrative offer we have been trying in the 90s. It's 30 years ago now. And I think up till now we have not found this real mixture. And therefore, up till now, Putin is not at all impressed by all the signals, either from the Europeans in any case, or by Trump from the US. And therefore, I think we are in a mess, in a situation where the Russians have time. I think they have still time to any, let's say, end of this. They know exactly their goals. And sometimes I have doubts whether our American friends have understood, or even others, have understood really Putin's objectives. Where is the key for me? Putin's objective has always been total neutralization of the Ukraine, no dependence on the Western world of the Ukraine, not any potential hostile regime, no NATO. The maximum had been neutralization, the maximum has been association without perspective of accession to the EU, no more. This is the key for Putin. And there's one area which is non-negotiable, in my eyes, it's the Crimea. And therefore we know this, we have been knowing this for the last 7, 8, 9 years. And we have never been acting. We have been going on, till, let's say, till nowhere. And therefore the key is how to get out of this. And by the way, in the whole scenario we have in front of us, including sanctions, there's a key role of India. Don't forget it. Because you are at least 35% of your home demand in oil and gas is imported from Russia. And I think there is a certain attempt of the Americans to touch this field. But there you have a key in this field. What I would like to see is more a dialogue with those are concerned, with the Americans and with the Europeans. I regret the Europeans are nearly out of this. They can deliver arms, full stop.
Absolutely, sir. You rightly pointed out that Putin's objectives are definitely a point of contention, especially for the US. And also, as you've mentioned, India's role and, of course, the penalties that Donald Trump has threatened to levy in India because of importing Russian oil. But having said that, now US President Donald Trump has condemned Russian strikes on Kiev. He has called them disgusting, to say the least. And now Steve Witkoff is going to Moscow today to discuss it further. Now, do you really think diplomacy, despite it's being said that it's on the table, is going to actually break or yield any breakthrough in the conflict going forward?
You are entirely right. Donald Trump has been changing his view in the last weeks, as the other side is not reacting at all on his attempts, on his friendly attempts, if you want. Because the Russians have time, they want to get their goals. And therefore, I repeat, therefore, the only way is to have sanctions in mind which really hit the Russians, and at the same time a positive offer. And this is, let's say, let's call it mission impossible. But diplomacy is often mission impossible. And there you have to find the small way to stop this, let's say, unsafe war at all.
Absolutely. We'll, of course, have to wait and see how the situation develops. But thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your perspective with us.
Pleasure as always.